All right, welcome to the speech class, and today's topic is the importance of communication in a business organization. Yes, Amit, start.
Yes. Good morning, all of you. I started organization communication. Organizational communication is as the sending and receiving of messages among individuals within a particular environment or setting to achieve individuals and common goal. Individual is in organization transmit messages through face-to-face, written, and mediated channel. Type of organization communication: oral communication and written communication. Oral communications occur face-to-face conversation, telephone meeting, etc. Written communications is done through orders, instruction, report, letter, etc. When it's come to business communication, it is all about goal. In that communication, it is a goal oriented. When you communicate, you should uh, do so with a certain goal in mind. And conclusion: communication may break down as a result of many communication barrier that may be attributed to the sender and receiver. Communication is an essential component of business, while communication is a natural part of human experience. That's all.
Okay, what is the importance of written communication, and how is it different from oral? Technically, dealing it.
Different communication, ma'am, through order, through instruction, reports, letter.
Yes. What is the importance? What is the advantages of written communication? Can you tell me the advantages and disadvantages of written communication? Hello? So the question was, what are the advantages of written communication? What are the advantages? What are the limitations or disadvantages of written communication? Hamid, maybe you have lost the connectivity, but I'm continuing with this. So, when you talk about the advantages, it is suitable for long distance communication. Okay? It is suitable and beneficial if you are communicating long distance. And giving orders. When you give orders for standing orders, for repeated orders, this is important. This is something which is important for long distance and for orders, information that you want to share, long distance, through letters or emails or any kind of written messages. Number two, like it creates a record. It creates a permanent record of evidence, proof. And not only it does create a permanent record, but it can also be used for future references. So which is important. And it gives the receiver sufficient time to think when you are giving it down in black and white, or when you're writing it down, when you're documenting it, it gives the receiver sufficient time, enough time to analyze, to think over the pros and the cons, to act and to react. Yes, Amit. Maybe you had connectivity problems.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So are you reading the advantages?
Ma'am, advantages of written oral
communication.
What, ma'am?
The advantages of written communication.
Advantage as easily to inform, acceptable, effectiveness.
Right. Let me give you layout of what are the advantages, and then you can talk about it. I'm giving you the hints. Like the advantages of written communications are many. It is suitable for long distance communication. Written advantages is one thing which is one thing which you can think of when you have to communicate long distance. And it creates a record. When you write something, it is documented, it is in black and white, it creates a record. Now, the second point is, it creates a record. The first, it helps in long distance communication. Number two, it creates a permanent record. And why this record is there? For you to, for reference uses, for future references.
Yes.
Right? You can turn back and look what you communicated and what were the orders that you gave, or what were the instructions. You can always get back to something which is written, which is not possible in oral communication. When you write down something, when you send something documented, it gives the receiver sufficient time to think, to act and react. So what actions I'm going to take, it will help me. If you write to me, if you send me assignments, what will happen? So now you are giving a speech right now on this topic. So supposing you write this down, that will be a record, and I can refer to it when I'm giving you marks. I can read it again, and this will help me to give the scorecard. So it gives the receiver enough time to analyze, to think, to take actions.
Yes. Most effectiveness than oral.
Exactly.
Communication.
Oral has its limitations and advantages, and so does. That is why this is important. What are the advantages and disadvantages of oral and written communication? We have taken up written communication right now. So it can be used as legal document.
Oral advantage that more powerful, correction of errors.
Exactly. So let us talk about the written communication and the advantages. Why is it? And it can be sent to many persons at the same time. You can send this to multiple people, to a lot of people at the same time. And it can be used for sending statistical data, charts, diagrams, pictures, etc., which is not possible in oral communication.
Yes.
So when you are in the top position, you are giving orders of allocation of work, job distribution, etc. Written communication is very helpful, and it helps in giving responsibilities, fixing responsibilities.
Yes.
And it is the last thing which I can think of is it is easy to send unpleasant messages or bad news messages, that the indirect approach and the direct approach in communication. So that also you have to study. What is the direct approach? What is the indirect approach? The direct approach messages are those messages in written communication where you give good news. So good news, are you expecting a direct communication from the top boss? Or somebody is likely to get an indirect message. It means bad news message. So if you have to send bad news messages, like unpleasant messages, something which you're not going to like it when you read it or when you receive it. So it is easy to send unpleasant messages or bad news through written communication, because you want to get your thoughts across, but then you want to do it undercover. Like you do not want to come in the picture, but then you just write an email and that's it. So these are some advantages which we are talking about under the topic, the advantages of written communication. Now, what are the limitations? It has its limitations also, or the disadvantages. Number one, it takes a lot of time.
Yes, ma'am.
It you want to write something, if you want to say something, it takes a hell of a lot of time. You think, you rethink, you recap, you proofread, you do a lot of things, and that is typing. So it is time consuming, and composing a message can be tiring also. You think, you rethink, you recap, you research. So composing a message in written takes much time, like writing letters, typing orders, notices, etc. And sending appropriate destination require time. And feedback process also is not instant. So if you want the feedback, if you've written something, by the time the person reads it and gives you the feedback, it takes time. It is expensive. In a way. How can written communication be expensive? Internet to connect. It is expensive, not so much due to postal charges, but in terms of so many people spending so much of their time. So you are investing time. A lot of people investing time, and if you think about, okay, if you are not thinking about the postal charges or the internet, you may think about it. The charges are there, all right, but then think about the time invested. And the most important thing that it cannot be maintained strict secrecy. Like if something is documented, anybody can read it. It is not, it can be read by anybody. So there is no secrecy about it. So it cannot maintain strict secrecy, which would have been possible in oral communication. Supposing I talk to you, I call you in my cabin and I speak to you. So this is between you and me only. Now, supposing I write something to you and somehow other people can also, the possibilities are that others can also read it.
And also given late feedback.
Yes, that is what I said. Immediate feedback is not possible because somebody will read it, think about it, and then write back again to you. It takes a lot of time.
A lot of time.
And written communication has no scope of immediate clarification.
Yes.
Supposing I write you something and you want immediate results. How did this happen? Why? It takes time. So immediate clarification is not possible, which is possible in oral communication. Like if you ask me anything, I will give you the instant reply, then and there. And in emergency, when there's an emergency, written communication is a tata bye-bye.
Tata bye. Yes.
You cannot. Like if you are, God forbid, if you're not feeling well and like people working, suffering from diabetes or high blood pressure or any kind of ailment, you cannot sit and open your laptop and type a message to the HR. Due to such certain problems, I request for a leave.
Yes.
If the HR is busy, then you've had it. You'll be sitting all day long and getting worse. So in emergency, communication is not advisable. So this was the complications and advantages, disadvantages of oral communication, of written communication.
Written communication.
Of this, can you give me the description of the advantages of oral communication?
One of the best, ma'am, time saving, cost saving,
Yes.
and more effectiveness than written, more powerful.
How is it more effective?
Because in my opinion, oral communication is most effective because written communication is not for seeing someone in a particular time and given time.
Yes. So one thing about oral communication is that it is less expensive and feedback is
Immediately feedback.
instant feedback.
Yes.
Like it is not expensive. Speaking to someone doesn't cost money. It
Yes.
takes time. And it enhances the interpersonal communication. Because you can see the person, you can see the body language, you can see the facial expression, you can read the body language, you can see the person in all its verbal and non-verbal messages. That is very clear, and it increases the interpersonal communication. So if you write to someone and that's it, and it makes a difference when you write to somebody or when you go and speak it, or when you go and speak to the person. So it increases your personal contact. And face-to-face communication or oral communication is, in oral communication you can talk about telephonic also, and
Yes, ma'am.
the telephone or the internet. So right now what we are doing, this is also some kind of communication. So the body language. So your camera is not switched on, but then you can see me and see my body
Yes.
language or my facial expressions. So you
Yes.
understand a little better. If I say,
Yes.
if I document this and send it to you on your WhatsApp group, I will not give the impact as much as that you're seeing me, watching me, and you're listening to, hearing me speak. And the most important part of speaking English or learning English is that if documented can be of help, but then if you listen to the person speaking, you can understand the pronunciation, the way it is spoken, or the
Yes.
tone. The tone cannot be highlighted in the written communication. The tone
Yeah.
is only the tone can only be highlighted in telephonic or face-to-face communication. And if you want to keep something confidential, if you want to keep it a secret, then there's nothing like oral communication. There is no spilling the beans. Nobody else can know it except it is between you and me. Like this happened or that happened, or some secret plan that you have. And it is persuasive. Can you tell me what is a persuasive communication? Like people in the sales line, can they write letters and convince people to buy the products? No, they have to be persuasive. Persuasive communication is when you are all out to sell your product
Yes.
with your communication, your body language, with your verbal, non-verbal. Supposing you are the sales manager, only documenting things will not help you out.
Yes.
But then it's all about communication. It's all communication under everything under the umbrella of communication. Verbal, non-verbal, words. And in persuasive, we mean persuasive communication is when you convince, when you are at your convincing best, when you know what you say, when you know how to say, and when you know that you want the decision to be in your favor. So you speak in such a way. Persuasive communication helps you to get the proper feedback or to get the desired results. If you want this through communication, you can get the results which you are aiming for. For example, you are a sales manager or you are a counselor or whatever, you speak to get results. So this is persuasive. Communication can be weak or strong. If somebody is over polite, somebody is too submissive, over polite, keeps a low profile. Sometimes requests, some kind of request can be very subtle requests, hidden requests. So this is weak communication. When you're too polite, your communication becomes weak. But it does not mean that to be powerful, you have to be rude. No. You have to speak in such a way that you are getting your desired aim. So start your communication with a strong willpower and strong communication. Persuasive means strong, which it cannot be done in written communication. Though you can write persuasive language, like advertisements, any kind of advertisement. What is the objective or any advertisement? You see something and you want to buy it, something which clicks.
Awareness.
awareness first. Like there are a lot of things children see on the television, the advertisements, and the next thing they do is they go and buy it.
Yes.
Right? So this is persuasive communication, especially the advertisements. So definitely, but then talking about advantages of oral communication, persuasiveness is always there. Like you can get the instant result, and you can get whatever you want. Because the power to convince, if you have the power to convince, this can only be done in face-to-face communication or oral communication. And oral communication is for everybody. Supposing somebody cannot read, people who cannot read Hindi or English, for them, there's only one choice, that is to listen to the person. We all understand Hindi.
Yes.
Think about persons who cannot read or write. The documented material will be a piece of trash for them. So written communication is useful for all kinds of audience. So in a way, it has its limitations, it has its advantages. So it is less expensive, it saves time, you get immediate feedback, it increases your personal contact, your interpersonal communication, relationship. It is useful in difficult situations, like in an emergency.
Yes, ma'am.
Only a word can do wonders. And it enhances groupism also, group harmony. And as I said, it is useful in secretive matters. It is persuasive, and it is it is for one and all. And because oral communication is very useful for addressing illiterate, semi-literate, and illiterate masses. So it is for everybody. And in persuasive, and this word is coming all the time in my mind. Persuasive is what? Persuasive is in oral communication. The speaker can win over the other person for his point. The people can be so much attracted, so much so that he can win over. It means he can get things done what he wants to. For example, if you are the salesperson, or if you want a job, so what do you do in an interview? You are persuasive. You try to make the HR, you try to convince the HR that yes, I am the perfect person for this job.
Yes.
Isn't it? So this is persuasive communication. So interview is the greatest advantage of oral communication, which cannot be done in written. Okay, you send your CV, you send your credentials, you send your cover letters. That's it, fine. But you know what happens, Hamid? When you face an interview, the first thing they may ask you to discuss your resume. If you think I've already given mine, so what is there to discuss? So something is there to discuss. A great deal is there to know. So the person is talking about discuss his resume. It means you are going to speak about whatever you've written. So an interview is the greatest example of persuasive communication. So according to the advantages, can you tell me in a minute what are the disadvantages of oral communication?
Ma'am, first, no records.
Yeah, no records.
Yes,
no
ma'am.
legality. No legality.
Yes, ma'am.
No record. Nothing is done.
Late decision is also.
No, late decision कैसे हो सकता है? आप immediate बोलते हैं ना, जैसे हम आपको कुछ बोल रहे हैं, हमें तुमको कुछ बोलना है, okay ma'am. अब तुमको हम मैसेज करेंगे, Hamid, you have to speak on this and this and this. You will think and think and think and come back to me after 2 days. Okay ma'am, this is my.
Yes, written disadvantage.
Yeah. So lack of accountability.
Yes.
मैंने उसको कह दिया था, वो आपको कह सकता है कि मुझे पता ही नहीं. आपने कब कहा मुझे नहीं मालूम, हमको लगा आप किसी और से बात कर रहे हैं। लेकिन हम डॉक्यूमेंटेड करेंगे कि दिस इज, फॉर एग्जांपल यू गेट अ मेमो, सिंस आई एम ऑन लीव टू दिस वर्क, वो आपको और बोल के चला जाता है, आप बोलेंगे आप भूल जाते हैं, but you will always say, if you're asked, if you're questioned, you will say I don't know, I don't remember, I don't ever remember, I'm so much busy in my work, how could I remember? You should have given me in documents.
Yes.
But you are winning the game. So in oral कह के चले गए, ये काम कर देना, there's no proof, so there
No proof.
lack of accountability is there.
Yes, ma'am.
No reference value, उनसे पूछ लो
No difference.
तो कोई valid reason नहीं होता है. And in oral communication there are greater scope of errors. जैसे हमने कहा, I'm giving you a speech, okay, how many you have to talk about the communication in organization. हो सकता है आप समझे नहीं समझे, मेरा कनेक्टिविटी लो है या अनस्टेबल है, आप नहीं समझे, and if I give it to you in documents, this is the speech topic, you will know.
Yes.
So in oral communication there are greater scope of errors, and it is easily forgotten.
What, ma'am? Easily?
कहाँ होगा, ठीक है, हाँ, yes, I remember, but sorry, I forgot. So it is, oral communication is easily forgotten. That is why when teachers take oral classes, when they are not sharing PPTs or when they are not sharing documents, it is
Yes.
easy to forget. Oh yeah, there were 9 points that ma'am said about advantages. If you do not write it down, you may forget. So it is easily forgotten. Yeah, and oral communication is not useful for long distance.
Yes, long distance.
Long distance is problem. You're calling up, you're not getting the connections, or
Yes, ma'am. Network issues problem.
lot of noise, environmental
Background.
barriers,
Yes, ma'am.
barriers are there. So it is not beneficial for, it is not useful for long distance. So, okay, Hamid, we discussed today the orders, the advantages of business organization, and which you must keep into account.